I have never had a lot in my life. I have never had brand new clothes, always hand me downs. I have never had my own room. I have always had to share with some of my siblings. My siblings would sometimes tell me that we wouldn't even have power in the house, but some nights they would need to use candles instead of light bulbs. I've always had to fight for food at dinner time and try and get in before everyone else. I've never gone hungry, but I definitely always could have eaten more. I am the youngest of 15 children, 12 of which still live at home with my mother. My mom is a single parent and she tries her best to give us all a happy and content life. And for the most part, she does an amazing job. I have never met or known my father. In fact, I don't even know who he is. You see, all of my siblings have a different dad, apart from Lee and Kayla, who are twins. But apart from those two, we all have different dads, and none of us know who our dads are. Mom says that every time she meets someone, she gets pregnant, and when her partner finds out, they leave. I think the fact that we only know our mother is something that my siblings and I have all come to terms with. Three of my siblings, two brothers and a sister, have all moved out of home and are quite successful. My oldest brother Simon has actually found a job in advertising, and even though I don't see him too often anymore, still quite often see adverts he has helped create on the TV. After my siblings moved out, things at home got a bit easier. There's a bit more food on the table and a little bit more money to go around. Most of my siblings are older now as well, so they all have a job and so help out with bills and pay their own way throughout life. Now, it is only me and my sister, Lisa, who are left at high school. Lisa is in her final year and I still have 2 more years left of school. As I am in the final years of my schooling, I am allowed to choose some subjects that are of interest to me, and one of those subjects that I chose was history. I have always been fascinated by the past and the people and the events that happened before I was alive. My recent assignments for my history is to research 3 different ancient mythical creatures and write a report about the creatures and how the myths surrounding the creatures affected different cultures and peoples. I always like to go above and beyond with my reports for history, and so that's why I decided to go to the library in town to research using old texts and books. Well, maybe it was because I wanted to go above and beyond, or maybe it's because my mom couldn't afford decent internet at home. But either way, I ended up at the town library after school on Tuesday night, looking through older books to find out about different mythical creatures. This isn't the first assignment that I have visited the library for help, so I have built up a relationship with the librarian, Mrs. Poole. She's an older lady with short grey hair and she always carries her glasses in her hand, but I never see her actually wearing them. I have established a decent relationship with her over the past year or so, and due to that, she is always willing to help me with whatever I need. In the library, there is a small section of very old books and texts that is usually closed to the public and is only able to be accessed by academics from the university. But Mrs. Poole is always kind enough to let me access it. Once again, I told Mrs. Poole about my report, and she told me that she knew just the book that could be helpful. She walked me over to the academic section and told me to put on the special white gloves that you need to use when handling these aged texts. She then also reminded me not to tell anyone about being allowed to view the old books, which of course I promised not to. I sat down at one of the tables in this section and watched as Mrs. Poole walked away and opened a locked door, which I knew all the books were stored behind. She disappeared into the room behind the locked door, and I patiently waited for her return. It was only a minute or two before I saw Mrs. Poole returning with a fairly large and hardcover book with yellowy brown pages. She placed the book in front of me and told me to be careful with it. Mrs. Poole looked at me sternly and said, "Please don't damage it in any way. Otherwise, I will be in all sorts of trouble. This is a 300-year-old book," she told me. "I will be back in an hour or so to collect it. I hope you find what you need." I looked down at the book and saw that written in green ink were the words "Creatures and Beasts." The title was in the center of the cover, and underneath the words was a small image of what looked like a red dragon. I admired the artwork for a moment before carefully opening the book. I carefully lifted each page and placed it down gently, not wanting to damage it and getting Mrs. Poole in trouble. I looked through the many pages of the book, each one with a different painting of a creature, with underneath had a paragraph explaining what the creature was and where it could be found. I looked through the pages, trying to find the three that I wanted to write about. I read about the Born Fairy from the Scotlands, the Tree Walker from Canada, and the Sky Dweller from India, all of which I found interesting, but I couldn't find enough about them to write about them in the reports. I kept on turning the pages of the book, and then I turned the page and read the words "The Alluring Harpy" and saw the small picture underneath. I stopped and couldn't believe what I was seeing. The alluring harpy was a winged woman that had long claws at the end of her arms. She was wearing a light purple dress, with her wings sprouting out the back of it. She had a seductive smile and eyes that looked inviting. It looked like the sort of creature you would find in a book about ancient mythical creatures, and normally I wouldn't think anything of it, but there was something about this picture. The face of the harpy was the face of my mother. I don't mean they looked similar or bared a resemblance. I mean, they looked exactly identical. I was looking at a picture of my mother. I sat staring at the photo for maybe a minute or two, but my stare was broken when Mrs. Poole returned and said to me, "I'm really sorry, but I am going to have to return that book now. The curator is here, and I can get into a lot of trouble for allowing you to read this book." She then went to grab the book off the table and to return it. I hadn't read about the alluring harpy yet, and so I quickly begged Mrs. Poole to give me another minute or so to read about it. But she said that it wasn't possible. But she said that she could take a photo of the page for me though, and I could collect it the next day. I told her that that would be great, and I would be back the next day to look at the photograph. She then took the book off the table and walked it over to the locked door. I quickly left the academic section, careful to avoid being seen by anyone in case it was the curator. I managed to not be seen, and I made it out of the front door of the library and out onto the street. I looked back at the library and thought about what I had seen. I knew that it was probably just a coincidence that my mother looked exactly like a mythical creature and the picture of the harpy. But at the same time, I thought that it was too similar to not have any connection to my mother. "Good afternoon," she said to me. "How was your day today?" I looked down at my feet and answered that it was a good day. I then tried to excuse myself to go to my room, but she stopped me. She knew something wasn't right. She asked if everything was okay. I told her that it was. I don't know why I was so nervous all of a sudden around my mother now. Just because I had seen the picture didn't mean it was her. That was just crazy. My mom would have no idea about any harpy, and I knew that I was just being silly. But still, I couldn't help but feel nervous around her. "Are you sure that everything is okay today? You seem different, like you are nervous about something," my mum said to me again, trying to get an answer out of me. I stood there for a moment before I began to speak. "Yeah, everything is okay today, Mum," I replied. "I just have a history report due soon, and I'm not too sure what to write about." "Oh, I can give you a hand with it if you want," she offered. I then decided to explain about the assignment and tell her about a few of the mythical creatures that I had seen in the book. She told me she didn't know much about the sort of thing, but would try to help and help me anyway. I told her about the Born Fairy and about the Sky Dweller. I didn't even really need help with these. But I was building myself up to mentioning the alluring harpy. Eventually I did manage to mention it. As soon as the words alluring harpy exited my mouth, I saw the look in my mother's eyes, the look of fear, the look someone gets when they have been caught out. "Never heard of this creature," Mum finally managed to say. "Sounds interesting though." I told her that I didn't know much about it, but I wanted to know more. She then told me that if I didn't know much about it, then maybe I shouldn't write about the creature. She then flashed me a sweet smile, and her eyes almost sparkled at me. I suddenly felt a lot more comforted. I realized how stupid I was being, and that there was no way there was any connection between the harpy and my mom. Mom then slightly touched me on the shoulder, and I felt a warmth run through my arm, and suddenly all my worries of before were now vanished. I now felt a lot better. My mother then excused herself and told me that she had to get dinner ready. She left and went to the kitchen to begin cooking. As she walked off, I could have sworn I saw a slight bulge under the back of her top, right where a wing could have been. but I quickly dismissed this as my eyes playing tricks on me. For the rest of the night, I didn't think too much more about what I had found or the bulge under the top. I slept very well that night, much better than I normally do. The next day I woke early and got up and got ready for school. When I went down to the kitchen, my mom had already left for work, and so I didn't see her that morning. School passed by quickly, and soon it was the end of the day, and I was about to walk home from school, when I suddenly remembered the photo that Mrs. Poole was going to take of the book. I had almost completely forgotten about it, like it had been wiped from my memory. But I remembered at the last minute and decided to head to the library to get a look at this photo. I made it to the library and was greeted by Mrs. Poole, and she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small photograph when she saw me. She handed it to me, and I saw that it was the picture of the page I wanted to read. It was hard to read because the photo was so small, but I managed to read what it read. It read as follows. The alluring harpy is a dangerous beast. It uses the power of love and desire to get what it wants, and what it wants is to spread its evil across the world. The harpy will disguise itself to look like a human woman, but it actually has sharp claws, sharp fangs, and wings. The harpy will use its power of seduction to seduce men, where it will then try and reproduce with these men. Its powers of seduction often come from their beautiful smiles, their enchanting eyes, and their soft touch. Often harpies will have multiple children to multiple men. Once the harpies have mated with a man, it will perform a small ritual that involves lighting candles and then eating the male. The harpy will then be pregnant and will soon give birth to its children. Harpies will often have around 15 to 20 children in a 30-year period before waiting 100 years, then start the mating period once again. Its offsprings will appear human, but when they reach a certain age, they will begin to develop their own abilities of seduction and manipulation. They then only have one purpose. They must manipulate as many people as they can. They try and manipulate people to do their bidding, almost like slaves. Once the harpies' offsprings are old enough, they will begin to mate as well, and they will try and pass along their bloodline to as many people as possible. The goal of the alluring harpy is to slowly take over the human population with their own bloodlines. I finished reading, and I couldn't believe what I had just read. The multiple children with multiple men really struck me. I also was concerned about the harpy's smile and touch, as this was something that I had experienced the night before with my own mother. Her touch had seemed to make all my worries disappear. Maybe these are all coincidences, and I am just worrying about nothing. Or maybe I am one of the offsprings, and I am yet to fulfill my purpose. Only future will tell what my fate is.